The Vorkath Empire's flagship Eternal Dawn emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Sol system, its crystalline hull refracting starlight in mesmerizing patterns. Admiral Zarek stood at the command center, his six-fingered hands clasped behind his back as he studied the holographic display of Earth. The blue planet hung there, seemingly defenseless, yet something about it made his scales bristle with unease. "Another primitive world," Commander Velshi remarked, her bioluminescent markings pulsing with anticipation. "The preliminary scans show they've barely achieved spaceflight. This should be an easy acquisition for the Empire." Zarek's secondary eyes narrowed while his primary set remained fixed on the hologram. After 10,000 years of expansion, the Vorkath Empire had perfected the art of planetary conquest. They'd learned that direct invasion often led to unnecessary resource expenditure. Far better to approach with promises of friendship, to weaken from within before striking. "Begin the protocol," he ordered. "Send the first contact package. Let's see how these humans respond to the prospect of joining the galactic community." On Earth, the arrival of the alien signal threw the world's governments into chaos. Dr. Sarah Chen, lead xenolinguist at the International Space Agency, worked tirelessly with her team to decode the message. After 72 sleepless hours, she stood before the United Nations Security Council, her hands trembling slightly as she presented their findings. "The aliens call themselves the Vorkath," she explained, her voice steady despite her exhaustion. "They're offering us membership in their empire, along with advanced technology and protection. But," she paused, her eyes meeting those of General Marcus Santos, who sat in the front row. "Something doesn't add up." Santos had spent 30 years in military intelligence. He recognized the look in Chen's eyes, the same look his analysts had when they had uncovered something troubling but couldn't quite piece it together. "Elaborate, Doctor." "The linguistic structure of their message is too perfect," she continued. "It's as if they've done this hundreds of times before. There's a pattern here that suggests preparation, careful study of human psychology and communication methods. This isn't a spontaneous contact. In the following weeks, Earth's response was carefully crafted. While official channels responded with diplomatic enthusiasm, a secret initiative codenamed Project Oracle began. Led by Dr. Chen and General Santos, a team of Earth's brightest minds worked to analyze every aspect of the Vorkath's communication. Meanwhile, in orbit, Admiral Zarek received Earth's response with satisfaction. Everything was proceeding according to the standard conquest protocol. But as his ship's AI processed the human's transmission, it flagged something unusual, subtle variations in the response that didn't match any previous species patterns. "They're testing us," Zarek realized, his bioluminescent markings flaring with surprise. "These primitives are actually testing us." Commander Velshi reviewed the analysis. "Impossible. Their technology level indicates they couldn't possibly." "Technology isn't everything," Zarek interrupted, remembering his mentor's words from centuries ago. "The most dangerous predators often hide their true nature." As the diplomatic exchange continued, both sides engaged in an elaborate dance of deception. The Vorkath offered technological gifts, carefully designed to create dependency while gathering intelligence. Earth accepted them with apparent gratitude while secretly studying and reverse engineering everything they received. Dr. Chen made a breakthrough 3 months into the exchange. Working with quantum computing experts, she discovered a hidden layer in the Vorkath's communications, a complex program designed to infiltrate Earth's defense systems. But instead of raising an alarm, she saw an opportunity. "We can use this," she told General Santos during a secure briefing. "Feed them exactly what they expect to see while we prepare our own surprises." Santos nodded, understanding immediately. A honeypot operation on a planetary scale. As the Vorkath fleet grew in number, hiding behind Jupiter's orbit, they believed their plan was working perfectly. Earth's governments appeared to be falling into disarray, arguing over how to distribute the alien technology. Military readiness appeared to be declining as nations focused on integrating the new technological gifts. But deep beneath the surface, in hardened bunkers and secret facilities around the world, humanity was preparing for war. The lessons of countless science fiction stories had prepared them for this moment, when an advanced alien civilization came bearing gifts. The wise looked for the deception within. Admiral Zarek stood before his command staff, satisfaction evident in his bioluminescent patterns. The humans are proceeding exactly as expected. Their military capabilities are degrading, and their political unity is fracturing. Soon, they will be ready for the final phase. But in that moment, as the Vorkath planned their conquest, they had no idea that humanity was about to teach them a lesson about underestimating a species that had survived countless attempts at its own extinction. The stage was set for a confrontation that would shake the foundations of the galaxy. The discovery came during a routine geological survey. Dr. Maya Patel had been studying seismic data from deep beneath the Pacific Ocean when her instruments detected something impossible: a perfectly geometric structure 20 kilometers below the seafloor. At first, she thought it was an equipment malfunction. "Run it again," she ordered her team at the International Deep Earth Research Facility. The results came back the same. A massive crystalline structure, its composition unlike anything in Earth's geological record, pulsing with an energy signature that defied explanation. Within hours, similar reports began flowing in from research stations around the world. The structures were everywhere, forming a vast network that encircled the entire planet. Dr. Patel's hands shook as she compiled the data for an emergency briefing with General Santos and Dr. Chen. "Whatever these structures are," she explained, pointing to the holographic display, "they predate human civilization by at least 1,000,000 years. And they're active. Something is causing them to power up." General Santos leaned forward, his expression grave. "The Vorkath. Their presence must be triggering these structures." Dr. Chen nodded, pulling up her latest analysis of the alien communications. "Their recent transmissions have become more frequent, more urgent. I think they've detected the structures too, but they can't understand why they didn't see them before." In orbit, Admiral Zarek was facing a crisis. His fleet's sensors had suddenly detected a massive energy grid encompassing Earth, technology that far surpassed even the Vorkath Empire's capabilities. How had they missed this? More importantly, what was it? "Analysis complete, Admiral," his science officer reported, mandibles clicking nervously. "The energy signatures match nothing in our database, but they're growing stronger. Whatever these devices are, they're responding to our presence." Zarek felt his scales tighten with anxiety. In 10,000 years of conquest, the Empire had never encountered anything like this. "Send a pro," he ordered. "We need to understand what we're dealing with." Back on Earth, Project Oracle had shifted into high gear. Teams of scientists and military personnel worked around the clock to understand the ancient structures. Dr. Patel led the research effort, coordinating with experts from every field imaginable. "The technology is organic in nature," she explained during a briefing. "It's as if someone merged crystalline computing with living tissue. The structures aren't just machines. They're alive, and they're evolving in response to the Vorkath presence." The implications were staggering. Earth had been protected by an ancient defense system all along, one so advanced it could hide itself until needed. But who had built it? And why? Dr. Chen made another breakthrough while studying ancient texts and archaeological records. "Look at this," she said, spreading out copies of cave paintings and ancient tablets. "Throughout human history, there have been references to guardians sleeping in the deep. We thought they were myths, but what if they were memories?" The Vorkath probe never reached its target. As it approached the nearest subsurface structure, a beam of coherent energy, unlike anything in the Empire's experience, reduced it to its component atoms. Admiral Zarek watched the destruction in stunned silence. "Impossible," Commander Velchi whispered. "Their civilization is barely interstellar. They couldn't possibly." "It's not them," Zarek realized. "Earth was never unprotected. We've walked into a trap millions of years in the making." The activation of Earth's defense system had an unexpected side effect. People around the world began reporting strange dreams, visions of an ancient war among the stars, of a civilization that had faced extinction and chosen Earth as the hiding place for their legacy. Dr. Paddle found herself working with psychiatrists and anthropologists, collecting and analyzing these shared visions. The structures aren't just defensive weapons, she theorized. They're a library, a repository of knowledge left behind by beings who knew that someday humanity would need it. Admiral Zarek faced the most difficult decision of his long life. The Empire's standard protocols had nothing to say about this situation. A primitive species with access to technology that predated the Empire itself. It changed everything. "We should retreat," Commander Velshi advised. "Call for reinforcements from the core worlds." But Zarek knew better. If they retreated now, Earth would only grow stronger. The humans were already learning to use their inherited defenses. Given time, they might become a threat to the Empire itself. "No," he declared, his bioluminescence pulsing with determination. "We attack now, with everything we have. The Empire cannot allow this power to remain in primitive hands." As the Vorkath fleet began to move, emerging from behind Jupiter's bulk, Earth's ancient guardians stirred further. Deep beneath the oceans, beneath the continents, the crystalline structures pulsed with increasing power. Humanity stood ready, watching through their instruments as the alien armada approached. Dr. Patel, Dr. Chen, and General Santos gathered in the primary command center, surrounded by screens showing the approaching fleet. The knowledge inherited from Earth's ancient protectors was still fragmentary, but they understood enough to know that the coming battle would change the course of human history. "Send the message," Santos ordered. Across the world, military commands stood ready. The Vorkath were about to learn why Earth had been chosen as the repository of such power, because humans, despite their apparent primitive status, had something the ancient civilization had recognized: an indomitable will to survive and adapt. The stage was set for a confrontation that would demonstrate to the galaxy that appearances could be deceiving, and that the legacy of an ancient civilization had found worthy inheritors in humanity. The Vorkath fleet's approach cast shifting shadows across lunar installations as Earth prepared for war. In the depths of the Mariana Trench, Dr. Maya Patel stood before the largest of the discovered crystal structures, its surface now pulsing with bioluminescent patterns that matched the rhythm of her heartbeat. "The interface is accepting human neural patterns," she reported through her comlink to the Global Defense Network. Around her, a team of scientists and military personnel worked to understand the alien technology that had chosen Earth as its sanctuary. The massive chamber, carved into the ocean floor millions of years ago, hummed with energy that made their hair stand on end. Above, Admiral Zarek launched the first wave of the assault. 5,000 drone ships, each carrying enough firepower to level a city, streaked toward Earth's atmosphere. "Let's see how their ancient defenses handle modern warfare," he commanded, his bioluminescent markings flashing with anticipation. The drones never reached their targets. As they entered the upper atmosphere, the global crystal network responded. Massive energy signatures erupted from points around the planet, forming a geodesic web of pure force. The drones simply ceased to exist, their atomic structure unraveled by forces that defied imperial science. In the command center, Dr. Sarah Chen watched the display with wide eyes. The system isn't just defending, she realized. It's teaching us. Every attack they launch reveals more about how the technology works. Her neural interface, a crystalline circlet that connected her to the ancient network, sparkled with new information. General Santos nodded, his own interface showing him tactical data that would have taken years to learn through conventional means. "It's like having 1,000,000 years of military experience downloaded directly into our minds. But we need to be careful. There's a reason the ancients left this technology dormant until it was needed." The Vorkath responded to the destruction of their drones with escalating force. Massive battleships moved into position, their weapons charging. Admiral Zarek had committed the entire fleet, Retreat was no longer an option. The Empire's reputation would not survive if they were defeated by a supposedly primitive species. All ships, commence full-spectrum assault, he ordered. Target their population centers. Let's see how their defense system handles protecting billions of scattered humans. But the Crystal Network had anticipated this strategy. As the Imperial ships opened fire, the energy web shifted, forming localized shields over every major human settlement. More than that, tendrils of crystalline energy reached out, touching the Imperial ships' shields with analytical precision. In the Mariana facility, Dr. Patel watched in amazement as new crystals began growing from the chamber walls. It's not just a defensive system, she broadcast to her colleagues worldwide. It's a seed, left here to grow into whatever we needed most. And it's evolving to counter their technology. The knowledge flowing through the human interfaces grew more complex. Operators around the world began to understand not just how to use the ancient defenses, but how to improve them. The Crystal Network was learning from humanity's creativity and adaptability, incorporating their innovations into its own structure. Admiral Zarek watched in growing horror as his ship's shields began to fail. The humans weren't just using the ancient technology. They were improving it, adapting it in ways its original creators might never have imagined. Impossible, he whispered as another cruiser's shields collapsed, its hull being systematically dismantled by precise energy pulses. On Earth, the interface between human and crystal technology deepened. Dr. Chen found herself understanding alien languages she never studied, her mind expanding to encompass knowledge left behind by the ancients. They didn't just leave us weapons, she realized. They left us their entire civilization, art, science, philosophy. But they made sure we'd only access it when we were ready, when we faced a threat that would unite us. The Crystal Network continued to evolve, sprouting new structures that rose from the ocean floors and emerged from mountain ranges. Each structure was different, adapted to human needs and innovations. The Vorkath found themselves facing not just ancient technology, but ancient technology guided by human ingenuity. General Santos coordinated the global defense effort, his mind linked to military commanders around the world through the Crystal Network. They fought as one, humanity united not by conquest or force, but by the need to survive. The ancient technology responded to their unity, growing stronger with each passing moment. In orbit, the Imperial fleet's formation began to break. Ships that had conquered hundreds of worlds found themselves unable to penetrate Earth's defenses. Worse, the humans were beginning to counterattack, using weapons that seemed to ignore the laws of physics as the Empire understood them. Admiral, Commander Velshi reported, her voice shaking, "We're detecting new energy signatures. The humans, they're not just using the ancient technology. They're improving it, building on it. Each attack we launch teaches them more about our weaknesses." Zarek watched as another wave of his ships fell to the increasingly sophisticated human counterattacks. The crystal technology was acting as a force multiplier, turning humanity's greatest strengths, their adaptability, their creativity, their unity in the face of external threats, into weapons more powerful than anything in the Imperial arsenal. Dr. Patel, her mind merged with the Crystal Network, saw the pattern of the entire battle laid out like a four-dimensional chess game. The ancients chose us for a reason, she transmitted to her colleagues. Not because we were powerful, but because we could become powerful. Because we never stop learning, never stop adapting. As the battle reached its crescendo, humanity's mastery of their inherited technology grew exponentially. The Crystal Network, designed to reward innovation and adaptation, found in humanity the perfect partners. Each human operator added their own insights, their own creative solutions, to the ancient system's capabilities. The Vorkath Empire was about to learn why the ancients had chosen Earth as their legacy's guardians. It wasn't just the technology that made humanity dangerous. It was their ability to take that technology and make it their own, to improve upon it in ways its original creators had never imagined. The crystalline spires of the Vorkath flagship, Eternal Dawn, shuddered as another wave of energy coursed through its shields. Admiral Zarek steadied himself against his command console, his bioluminescent markings pulsing with barely contained fury. Half his fleet was already lost, their mighty ships reduced to drifting debris by weapons that shouldn't exist. "My Admiral," Commander Velshi reported, her voice tight with strain. "The humans are no longer just defending. They're adapting our own technology against us. Each ship we lose, they learn more about our systems." On Earth, Dr. Maya Patel stood within the crystal heart of the Mariana Command Center. Her consciousness merged with the ancient defense network. Through it, she could see the entire battle in perfect clarity. Every ship, every energy signature, every possibility. But more than that, she could see how to win. The Crystal Network isn't just teaching us how to fight, she transmitted to the global defense grid. It's showing us how to end this war without destroying them completely. We can be better than they are. General Santos, his neural interface glowing with tactical data, understood immediately. They expected us to be savage, to destroy without mercy once we had the power. Let's show them how wrong they were. The counteroffensive began with surgical precision. Crystal structures around the world pulsed with new energy as humanity launched their first coordinated attack. But instead of destroying the Vorkaf ships, the energy beams began systematically disabling their weapons and propulsion systems. Dr. Chen, monitoring the alien communications, smiled as panic spread through the Imperial fleet. They can't understand why we're not obliterating them. Their entire conquest protocol is based on the assumption that primitive species are driven by revenge and bloodlust. Admiral Zarek watched in disbelief as ship after ship in his fleet went dark, their crews untouched but their vessels rendered helpless. This was not how conquered species were supposed to behave. This was not what 10,000 years of imperial history had prepared them for. "They're sending us a message," he realized, his secondary eyes widening. "They could destroy us, but they're choosing not to." The Crystal Network continued to evolve under human guidance. New structures emerged from the Earth's crust, each one more sophisticated than the last. Humanity wasn't just using the ancient technology. They were reimagining it, combining it with their own innovations in ways its original creators might never have conceived. Dr. Patel directed a series of precise energy pulses that systematically disabled the Imperial flagship's defensive systems. "The ancients left us this technology because they saw something in us," she broadcast to her fellow operators. "Not just our potential for power, but our capacity for wisdom." The Vorkaf crew watched in amazement as their mighty weapons were neutralized by forces they couldn't even understand. Their sensors, designed to analyze any known form of technology, were overwhelmed by the complexity of what humanity had achieved in mere days. "How?" Commander Velshi whispered, watching another cruiser go dark. "How can they have mastered this technology so quickly?" The answer lay in humanity's greatest strength, their ability to adapt, to innovate, to see possibilities where others saw only established rules. The Crystal Network, designed to reward creativity and unconventional thinking, had found in humanity the perfect partners. General Santos coordinated with military commands worldwide as they executed their carefully planned strategy. "We're not just fighting to survive anymore," he told his fellow commanders. "We're fighting to show the galaxy a better way." The counteroffensive moved beyond Earth's orbit, crystal energy beams reaching out to disable Vorkaf ships attempting to retreat. Not in revenge, but to ensure that when the Empire learned of Earth's power, they would also learn of Earth's mercy. Dr. Chen's linguistic expertise, enhanced by the Crystal Network, allowed her to craft a message that would resonate with the Vorkaf's cultural understanding. "We are not your enemies." The transmission began, broadcasting in perfect Imperial language. "We are not your subjects. We are offering you something your empire has forgotten. The chance to learn from those you thought beneath you." Admiral Zarek, standing on his powerless flagship's bridge, felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries: humility. The humans had utterly defeated his fleet, Yet they offered cooperation instead of destruction. It challenged everything the Empire had taught about the nature of power. The crystal network continued to pulse with energy. But now it was forming new patterns, not weapons, but bridges. The ancient technology, guided by human creativity, was showing its true purpose. It wasn't just a defense system. It was a tool for understanding, for growth, for bringing together different species across the vast gulfs of space. Dr. Patel, her mind still linked to the crystal matrix, saw possibilities unfolding like fractal patterns. The ancients didn't just give us the means to defend ourselves, she realized. They gave us the means to change the galaxy, not through conquest, but through understanding. The Vorkath Empire had come to Earth expecting to find another primitive species to conquer. Instead, they found something unprecedented. A civilization that had inherited the legacy of the ancients, but chose to use it with wisdom rather than vengeance. A species that, when given the power to destroy their enemies, chose instead to show them a better path. As the disabled Imperial ships hung in Earth's orbit, their crews came to terms with a new reality. They had not just been defeated, they had been taught a lesson that would reshape the Empire's understanding of power, progress, and the true meaning of civilization. 1 year after the Battle of Earth, the Sol system had become a symbol of transformation throughout the galaxy. The crystalline spires that now rose from Earth's oceans and continents no longer served solely as weapons. Admiral Zarek, now serving as the Empire's first ambassador to Earth, stood in the newly constructed Harmony Tower in Geneva. Through its transparent walls, he could see representatives from 100 worlds gathering for the first galactic concordat. The empire that had once sought to conquer humanity now sought to learn from it. "If you had told me a year ago that I would be standing here," he said to Dr. Maya Patel, who had become Earth's chief liaison for interstellar relations, "I would have thought you mad." Dr. Patel smiled, the crystal interface at her temple glowing softly. The ancients knew what they were doing when they chose Earth. They didn't just leave us technology. They left us a responsibility. The crystal network had continued to evolve under human stewardship, revealing new capabilities almost daily. But unlike the Empire's approach of hoarding knowledge, humanity had chosen to share their discoveries. The decision had sent shockwaves through galactic civilization. In the orbital research station, Legacy, Dr. Sarah Chen worked alongside Vorkath scientists, teaching them how to interface with the crystal technology. The key was never about power, she explained to a group of alien researchers. It was about understanding. The crystals respond to creativity, to the ability to see beyond established patterns. Commander Velchi, who had requested to remain on Earth as part of the scientific exchange, nodded in agreement. The Empire spent millennia perfecting our technology, yet we never imagined something like this. Technology that grows, that learns, that adapts alongside its users. The changes weren't limited to Earth. Across the galaxy, worlds that had lived under Imperial rule for generations began to receive transmissions from Terra, as Earth was now known throughout the cosmos. These weren't messages of rebellion or revenge, but invitations to join in a new kind of galactic community. General Santos, overseeing the integration of Earth's defense forces with the new Galactic Peacekeeping Initiative, often reflected on how differently things could have gone. "We could have used the crystal technology to build an empire of our own," he told a class of mixed human and alien military cadets. "Instead, we're building something better, a federation of equals." The crystal network itself seemed to approve of humanity's choices. New structures continued to emerge, but they were different now, focused on healing, on learning, on bringing together diverse species in ways that transcended biological barriers. The ancients' legacy was fulfilling its true purpose. In the Mariana facility, now transformed into the primary school for crystal technology, Dr. Patel led a team of researchers from across the galaxy. "Each species brings its own perspective," she explained during a symposium. "The crystals respond differently to each race's unique cognitive patterns. By working together, we're discovering capabilities the ancients themselves might never have imagined." The Vorkath Empire, once the greatest power in known space, was undergoing its own transformation. Admiral Zarek had become one of the strongest advocates for reform, arguing that true strength lay not in conquest, but in collaboration. For 10,000 years, we thought we were bringing civilization to the galaxy, he told the Imperial Senate. In truth, we were stagnating, trapped in patterns of thought as rigid as our crystalline ships. Earth showed us a different way. The changes weren't always easy. Some within the Empire resisted the new order, clinging to old dreams of conquest. But they found themselves increasingly isolated as world after world saw the benefits of cooperation with Earth and its allies. Dr. Chen, whose work on interspecies communication had revolutionized galactic diplomacy, often reminded her colleagues of an important truth. The ancients didn't choose Earth because we were perfect. They chose us because we never stopped trying to be better. The crystal network, spanning the planet like a neural web, had become a symbol of this philosophy. It was no longer just Earth's defense system. It was a living library of knowledge, growing and evolving as it incorporated the wisdom of species from across the galaxy. As the first year of the new era drew to a close, humanity found itself at the center of a galactic renaissance. The crystal technology, combined with human innovation and the diverse perspectives of alien cultures, was solving problems that had plagued civilizations for millennia. Dr. Patel, standing at the heart of the crystal network, could feel the pulse of this new galactic civilization. The ancients left us more than just technology, she wrote in her journal. They left us a vision of what the galaxy could become. Not through force, not through conquest, but through understanding, growth, and the wisdom to know that true power lies in lifting others up rather than pushing them down. The legacy of Terra, as it came to be known throughout the galaxy, wasn't about military might or technological superiority. It was about showing that even in the darkest moments, when faced with extinction, a civilization could choose wisdom over vengeance, growth over destruction, unity over division. And in the depths of space, on countless worlds, new crystal structures began to emerge, not weapons of war, but bridges between civilizations, each one a testament to the truth that humanity had discovered. The greatest power lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the courage to create something new.